is happening next week in Geneva. If you are in Europe, if you are in vacation, if your agenda allows, and if you have interest in what is happening in AI, in what is possible with AI, make some time in your agenda to go and watch the latest update, the innovation, the latest in terms of governance, in terms of technology, in terms of networking. If you are at all interested in what could be possible with AI, join. I'm live now, but later on, I'm sure I put the link on how you can go and sign up. And the beautiful thing is, you can attend the event in person or you can attend virtually. So, if AI speaks to you, if you are an AI enthusiast, go and check it out. It's all about making an impact, making a difference with AI, which is also the reason of this series. And I want to start by expressing my gratitude to all of you who joined. Merci à vous tous qui avez été là. Là, on était un peu plus de 10 dans le live en français. And it shows that there's some interest. And the AI leadership series that I propose to do with you in the next couple months essentially is to show real stories, real companies, real impact being created with AI. AI is an opportunity. AI creates opportunities. Like today, we'll be hearing about someone who was able to leverage AI to make a difference, not just for her grandma, uncle, or people that were there in Ghana, but for thousands of plantations of farmers and creating a lot of value in the process. It's all about leveraging emerging technologies to make a difference in your organization, for your team, for people you are leading. And I love to tell stories like the stories of Nikki. Just stop talking, zip, and allow people to hear the impact Nikki wanted to create from Nikki's mouth. So listen.
What impact means to me is a future that wasn't possible for my maternal grandmother, who was a trader and a farmer, who struggled with some of the same challenges that the farmers that we work with now. Hi, I'm Nikki Okrah. I'm the founder and CEO of Chaku Foods. I am just a young woman who grew up in Kumasi, Ghana, whose parents migrated to the US, and who really wanted to just make an impact back home. Chaku Foods' mission is to create wealth for small shareholder farmers in Africa. And the way we're approaching that is by making sure that we maximize their profits while minimizing climate risk. Farmers just want to make more money and have an access to market. And with our technology, we're providing a platform for them to do that.
Farmers just want to make more money and have more access to market. And these challenges Nikki helped solve with her platform. It started with observing what was happening with her grandma, and today it's a platform that is serving more than 1,000 acres that have been mapped, more than 350 families, farmers that are benefiting from that, and a huge impact on the climate. This is the story of impact we are talking about. And Nikki did not just do it by herself. She saw a challenge. She saw a pain point that needed to be resolved, which is one key point I want to start to raise right here. Emerging technologies, AI can help solve challenges. It starts with understanding the challenge, being clear, clarity around the pain point you want to solve, clarity around the pain point your clients, the pain points your constituents, your stakeholders, people you're serving. Is a great entry point to making an impact with AI. And as you listen to Nikki, well, she leveraged a set, not just one set of technologies, things like geospatial mapping, satellite imaging, predictive analysis. A lot of those were put together in the platform that is serving those farmers today. The point I want to make, and one thing I want to get you to start reflecting on, is what's the most painful thing my team, my clients, my organization people working with my non-for-profit, what pain point are you resolving? That's the best entry point, because when that is very well scoped, it is easier to identify the best technology, the best AI solution that could help you and your team. I invite you maybe to hear again from Nikki directly about the technology she's using to create that impact, make that difference for farmers in Ghana and beyond. Let's listen to her.
If life ever throws you a glass ball, please drop the rubber balls and embrace difficulty as an opportunity for expansion and growth. When I was in your seat 13 years ago, I could have never imagined I would be on this path. With Chaku Foods, I am building a business that enables smallholder farmers in Ghana and at scale in Africa to make more money by having access through markets, through the use of crop prediction and efficient aggregation and collection of their harvests. 13 years ago, some of the technology we use, like drone mapping and satellite imagery, was not widely available or didn't exist. Many of the social enterprise funds and philanthropic grants also didn't exist and are the product of the phenomenal growth of the equity markets over the past decades, and some of those shareholders wanting to give back to make the world a better place. So it would have been impossible for me to even dream of doing this work, because the technology and the funding source was not accessible when I was in your seat. I am confident that Chaku will build a more equitable world for millions of small shareholder farmers, because I am both persistent and patient with the time horizon. Just as I was patient as a 5-year-old girl who wanted to make her way back home to Ghana and finally have a couple decades later as an adult. You should all push the boundaries of your dreams.
Did you hear that? Oh, she never dreamed she could do this, but it happened. She wanted to go back to Ghana, and she could go back, and she's making a difference for thousands of families. Did you also hear the thing she said about patience and persistence? As we will see later on into this video, emerging technologies are a tool, but it doesn't just happen overnight. Being patient and persistent, continuously trying, doing the next iteration, learning loops are also a concept that can help, that I see a lot of companies being successful leveraging emerging technology. Patience and persistent. Well, you can hear all the energy and the passion in my voice talking about Nikki and Chaku Foods, and you may wonder, well, yeah, you've come here to just glare about how you admire her. How about listening and hearing from someone who is actually benefiting from that platform? This person is not from the family of Nikki, it's just a farmer whose business has been transformed because of the platform. Let's hear what they say about the business before, what is possible with the platform, and where they could see themselves going in the future. This is real. This is AI in action, not demo of what is possible, but the real reality of a farmer in Africa.
It's still early in the growing season, but Faith Mawuko is guardedly optimistic about this season's yield from her 1,000 mango trees.
You expect a bumper harvest this year?
Yes, I do.
What could make that not happen?
The weather, the climate.
Like most Ghanaian farmers, she's at the mercy of the market and increasingly unpredictable weather. Farmers here depend on rain. Few have irrigation systems.
The climate also plays a major role during the fruits in the flowering. If you are not able to get enough rain, we get a lot of the fruits getting aborted.
That's what happened last year to mango farmers in Latin America, where widespread flooding reduced production by up to 80%. To Nikki Okrah, that's created an opportunity here in Ghana's eastern region. Those Latin American farmers sell most of their mangoes in the United States.
You have, the U.S. market where millions of tons of dried mangoes and other products are consumed. Then you need to get those mangoes for somewhere else.
Six. Okay.
Okrah's nonprofit called Chaku Foods agreed to purchase Mawuko's entire crop this year. a big relief for the farmer since the price is locked in and should yield a profit. Without this guarantee, her mangoes would go to the market at harvest time where, ironically, a bumper harvest lowers prices. Okrah's company will track the progress of Mauko's and dozens of other client farms all the way to harvest using geospatial mapping and data gathering through drone and satellite images. It helps manage the climate risk, she says, and can reassure prospective buyers, especially a promising new American one.
So you'd like to see mangoes from here wind up on a shelf at Trader Joe's?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
From harvest to processing, there are still many steps before these mangoes hit store shelves, but Chaku Foods has a verbal agreement with the Trader Joe's supplier, the culmination of a vision Okrah had when she returned to Ghana in 2021.
I think part of it's in the blood.
Born in Ghana and raised in the U.S., Okrah holds degrees from Northwestern and Harvard. She left a corporate career and moved here to focus on creating wealth for smallholder farmers like her ancestors.
There's an abundance of wealth and opportunity above the land, and in this space, we can have billions of dollars not going to waste in post-harvest loss, but actually going to markets.
Billions of harvest not going to waste, but being used and sent somewhere else. Why? Because technology allows to make a link between demand and need. I want to quickly do a recap. If you're watching this and you are in agricultural business, she said things like geospatial mapping, satellite imaging, predictive analysis, climate kind of tool. All of these have been put together in the platform. These are some things that she used in her platform to make a difference for those farmers. And I was saying, well, the person we watch in the video, the person selling mangoes, well, it's not just one. In the documentary, they talk about 12. But when I was preparing this, I went on to Chaku Foods website, and I really encourage you, if you are in this domain, go and check by yourself. There's a lot of details, a lot of pictures. But I noticed today they've mapped more than 1,000 acres of land. They have been able to work. They're working with more than 350. We're going closer to 400 farmers that are using the platform. And the yield of these farms have increased more than 20%. This is definitely a story of impact. And it is not what is possible, but what has happened so far. How much more will Nikki and Chaku Food create? And this brings me to the question of how big is the impact you want to create? How far can you go if you included, if you integrated the power of AI into your business? As I promised when I was making the announcement for the series, we will always hear about a real story from a real leader, a real company, real challenges. But beyond the stories, there will be what does that mean? How they did it so that you can learn from the story to make a difference in your own case. Whether you lead a team in Google or you lead an organization, I don't know, in America, or a company, a government organization in Argentina. I'm so eager. That's why that country just came to mind like this. I can't wait to be telling you next week or the week after the next if we do AI for Good next week. But there's the story of this mayor that I can't wait to tell, because in general, people tend to say civil servants working for government is very slow. They don't have a lot of resources, and the machine is very slow to move. Hey, stay tuned, and I hope you have subscribed to hear about this, the story of this mayor who leveraged what he already had and technology and AI to help fix potholes. I can't wait to tell that. So it's a good one where you see it's not the budget, it's not how much money, having a methodology. And talking about methodology, I invite us to go and what can we learn? What's the methodology behind? You heard it from Nikki. She didn't start with, okay, technology is a nice thing. Let's go and create this wonderful thing. It started with the problem. It started with, my grandma is facing this challenge. I don't know exactly what is happening with my display, but I'm not going to get distracted. Yes, so she started with the problem, and that's why since the beginning of this video, I've been saying, what is the problem? What is the problem that you would benefit you, your team, your organizations, people you serve? What is the problem that, if resolved, will make a huge difference for you and your people? That's where you start. Well, she started thinking about, my grandma, she works so hard, but some years she doesn't control the climate, so the climate could affect the yield. Also, sometimes she can even have a good yield, but if it's not bought, it could go to waste. And you saw the solution that she came up with using technology. Well, she can predict the yield, and knowing how much she can have, she was also able to connect the farmers to those who need those crops. AI can give you that information. So number one question, if you're watching this, whether you are in agriculture or something else, technology, bank, finance, whether you lead a large team, a small organization, a department, or a faculty, point number one in the methodology, you will hear it, you heard it today from Nikki. You'll hear it next week from the mayor, and in other episodes from all the other people you see in the series. It always starts with the problem, the pain point. So as you're watching this, what is the pain point that you, people you serve, your constituent, your team, your clients, what is the pain point that will make a huge difference if resolved? Being clear on that, scoping that very well, can really accelerate your AI initiative. So that's point number one. After the problem, the next thing, which is one of the things I enjoy talking about, if you've been watching my content, be it a series on superpower or executive protocol, know your assets. What do you have? What do you have regarding the problem that was identified? And I like to say, you have more than you think. You doubt? Well, in a couple minutes, we'll discuss what Nikki already had. When you're clear that my clients, they always complain, my constituents, they complain, they would like to see more of this. When you're clear about that, the next question is, what do you already have around the complaints? It could be tickets, it could be calls, it could be, there's a lot of insights in that data, and that's where your AI initiative can start from. Just two questions. What's the problem and what do you already have? When people are angry, when your clients complain, or when they give comments or remark, what are they talking about? Do you collect these comments into a chat, into some call logs? What problem and what data? That data is what we will feed through an AI, and you have no idea all the good that can come up from there. You may notice that people who call to complain, they come from a region. You may notice that it's a certain season. You may notice that they do it in a certain way. And that's insight that the AI is very intelligent to bring up, but also that you can start to work on. So number one, get clear, define, and you can leverage those you're serving to help you validate that. That's the main pain point. That's another topic we'll be talking about, how you validate the most important pain point to work on. First pain point, and then secondly, what do you already have? If we bring it back to Chaku Foods, well, she knew her grandma, people in her family were farmers. There were already some farmland relationship that existed. There were some distribution channels. There were some connections. So she didn't create everything from scratch, but she leveraged those relationships. She leveraged those channels. She leveraged those connections. She leveraged history about the yield, about how they sell, about how things go to waste. And it is because she leveraged the things that already existed that she was able to come up with that solution. So, point number two is that, and then the last point, the last learning point I want to share for you, the next thing when you know the problem, and then you have an idea, we'll come back to that soon. Just be patient, please. When you know the problem, when you have identified what you already have, the next, the most important thing is what can you start with? This is where I see a lot of people get stuck in coaching sessions. Yeah, we see that an AI can analyze and bring up anomalies in our report. Some people have some ideas on the pinpoint, but a lot of leaders, a lot of executives I talk with, they think about this AI transformation as a big thing. Yes, and you will see the quote from Nikki in a couple minutes. Keep that vision of the long term, of the huge transformation you want to achieve. But what is possible today? What can you start with? I notice that's where a lot of people get stuck. Idea, vision, long term, big, complex. What's the little minimum, little step you can do to get started? And this is where I really like what Professor Fagan taught us, like learn to crawl like a child. Crawl, then walk before you can run. The crawling thing is what's the meaning, the little thing that you can get started with, because that crawling will build a case, will be that MVP that you go and present to the board to have more resources. But you need to start with something. So, three things I really want to do a recap as we learn from the story of Nikki. Number one, she didn't start by developing complex things, the problem. And the problem where a lot of extra yield going to waste. Difficulties having channels to sell the yields, and also the lack of control in terms of climate. So the predictive thing solves the problem of how can we guarantee a certain yield. And then she leveraged people she knew, the existing channel, to help find a solution on how to sell more, which is one of the challenges you heard her saying, farmers, they want to make more. So problem, what do you already have and what can you start with? These are the three things I wanted to offer you. And before we move on to something else, I really want to invite you to reflect. Don't just listen and let it pass from one ear to the next. We'll talk some more about the just one action. You know, in the series, I want to keep it practical and actionable. The idea is between now and the next episode next week, you do just one thing. And as you keep doing that one thing, by the time the series is done in episode 12, you have made progress in your AI initiative. So in a couple minutes, we'll be talking about the one thing that will be great that you do this week, just one thing, not a complex thing to brainstorm to sell, just one easy thing that you can do in 6 days. I'll see you right after this little spot again. If you're watching this from Canada, I want to stop and take a pause and say Happy Canada Day. Jade, what is this thing you keep playing? It's AI for Good. It's the summit. This is where you will meet the people. This is where you will experience the change AI can bring in action life. You've seen people from various countries, from various continents. Innovation is happening there. The networking is there. People have the opportunity to pitch their AI idea. You are interested in policy and governance. Those talks are happening there. That's why definitely I think it's a place to be if you are interested in knowing, seeing, and experiencing how AI technology could be leveraged to make a difference. If you can, if you are in Europe, make some time in your agenda. If you are not, you can attend the virtual portion. And I can't wait to share some highlights of what is happening there. Hopefully, we can get someone to come and talk, someone who is attending there. So, I was saying one action, my promise again is that after every story, you'll be hearing a lot of stories, a lot of good stories. I told you I can't wait to tell the story of that mayor. He even won an award for that. Well, he's working for government. His team, like in a lot of government, they do not have a lot of resources. But as you listen to that story, you will see that clarity on the problem and being aware of the things you already have can really accelerate what is possible. This man created a solution using the very trucks they are using to carry dirt to make a difference. So you'll be hearing stories, but beyond the story, what it means for you, whether you are in the domain or no. And I want to make that highlight because some people may say, well, it depends on the case study you're discussing. If you are in the domain, the clear example, the mention of the technology, the tools they're using can inspire you to see what you can. But even if you are not in the industry, there will always be at least one thing that you can try. And for this week, the one action I would like you to take some time, it doesn't have to be long, it's easy. When it's easy, we can do it. I just want you to do one thing this week. Answer a question that has two aspects to it. Question number one: what is the pain point that, if resolved, would make a huge difference to people you're serving, your clients, your stakeholders, your constituents, your organization, your business, if you are an executive? What is that pinpoint that you hear more often, that comes often in meetings, in board meetings? What is that pinpoint? And the second aspect of the question: what do you have as data related to that problem? And as I was saying a couple minutes ago, it could be documentation of the complaints, it could be the documents, the report. What do you have in terms of data? What do you have that is related to the pain point that you have listed? These two answers put you in front of many more people. A lot of leaders I hear, a lot of people, well, I played with Claude, I played with Gemini, I'm learning to, well, that conversation. But being clear, focus on the one thing that will make the impact. You're already scoping. The problem you want to have a solution for. So when you add the next level, we have reports, we have logs, we have PowerPoints, we have, this is data the AI can connect and make something, and you can start to see the power of AI when you are clear on that problem and you reflect on what is possible using what you already have. So please make time on just it can even be right now. I feel like say just stop. If the problem is already clear in your head, can you just stop and write it down? Write it somewhere. It's good you have captured the problem. And as you continue the reflection on what do I have, more ideas will come and you'll be able to start something with it. That's the action for this week. And I'm gone. You see, it's easy, but please keep in action, as I like to say for those who know the coach. Um, Without action, there'll be no transformation. Without action, there'll be no transformation. Just write down the answer to the question and we're good. Next week, another easy thing for you to do. And as you do this one thing every week, before the end of the 12 weeks, you'll be far in front with your AI initiative. If you're watching this and you have questions, I am more than willing to take the question, not just I. You heard me playing and talking about AI for good. There's a huge community. There are people attending there that are more than willing to take your questions. Whether the question regards technology, whether the question regards the governance portion, whether the question regards, I don't know, funding, just send them my way. The idea is there's something happening, there's change. There are technologies that are available and you could make a difference. We just heard about someone who was dreaming something and today has more than 1,000 acres, has created value for almost 400 farmers, and has generated 6 billion new trees that have been planted, and it is affecting the weather. This is impact that you could also be an actor wherever you are, whether you lead a team of technologies, a team of civil servants, or just leading your community. I'm really becoming more and more interested in how technology can make a difference and impact in public services. So the more I will gather story, I'll come and share them with you. I told you about the mayor in Argentina and another one very close to where I am here in New Brunswick. They're leveraging AI for translation English to French. This is cool. It is possible, guys. We are in a great time. You can see all my excitement for the technology. And the goal of the series is to share these real stories, but also the challenges. So if this is something that resonates with you, if you have questions, if there are things that keep you stuck, send them my way. I will send to the community of all the people with me, and we will get you some answers, some tools. It is what I had planned for this first episode of AI Leadership, CAI in Action. And before saying bye, if you prefer in French, the French episode they happen at 11 EST time. And also you will hear a lot of stories beyond the stories, the learning. In July, a lot of storytelling. The next month in August, we will talk about what you can do now to get started. And in the third month, we'll talk about the strategy. Imagine before the next strategic workshop or how you do it in your organization, you are not the one waiting to be told where to go next, but you have observed, you know the pain point of your organization, of your clients. And because you've done some reflection, maybe with your team in partnership with those using your services, and you know that these kind of tools, with even the possibility to use open source or some solutions that are just internal, this is one little thing that we can do to move the needle. And you're ready for that strategic meeting with a little pilot, a little something that is working that you can show to prove the case. How would that look on you? What would that say about you as a leader? That's my goal creating this series. Technology is happening. Technology can bring you far. This is what is possible, and you can create your strategic plan so that in 2027 you are in execution mode. You're no more watching someone else's demo, but you are also experiencing and making progress and sharing the impact, the efficiency, saving time, money, and resources for your organization. That's the goal of the series. Question, comments, remark are welcome, and your feedback as well. It is Judith Glory, and it was a pleasure sharing this with you. I can't wait to tell the story of the mayor with you next week. Until then, take care and be good. Bye.